Hey everybody. I designed a leather basket and I can't stop making them. So in this video, I am going to show you how to put the pattern together and how to make your own out of 8 to 10 ounce leather. We're going to use some copper rivets. We're going to use some leather wrapped rivets that are new. We're going to make a bunch of baskets. So let's get into it. For leather today, I've got a fresh new side. This is just Wicket and Craig English Bridle in tan. And it's about, I think it's the 8 to 10 ounce. These are always nice to open a fresh one. First step is going to be putting the pattern together. Now, there's two pieces that are just easy. They just fit on a piece of paper. They'll print out together, cut them out. You're good to go. The main body is huge. So what I did was I split it into 4. And then there's one piece that doesn't need any trimming. The rest have these arrows that say trim and point to a side. Now, whatever side they point to, you're just going to trim off where the dotted line is. And this is going to let you overlap everything and stick it together so that you can have one big piece to glue to a piece of poster board. I'm just going to trace 3 of them out. Now my first step on this leather is going to be to lay out all my pieces. So I'm going to trace 3 body panels and 6 sides because we need 2 sides per basket. As you're cutting this out, if you're using 8 to 10 ounce leather, you want to be very careful. This thick stuff, you want to use a very sharp knife, really good metal straight edge, whoop, and watch your fingers. I'm going to use my signature solid brass blade handle from Buckle Guy. This thing makes super light work of complex curves and heavy leather like this because it's way heavier. It's like a weighted handle, so you have way more control. And even doing a multiple S curve is no problem in this heavy leather. Once everything's cut out, it's time to get to doing our edges. First thing we're going to do is sand them down. The next thing is we're going to bevel them. And beveling is really important when you're using leather this thick because it can get really sharp. You can get like almost like paper cuts when you have very sharp edges of like an 8, 10, 10, 11, 12 ounce leather. And then once we're done with that, I'm going to use, you can use gum drag, you can use water, but I'm going to burnish mine because I want it to feel really nice. But I would at least take this down to a bevel just because of those edges being really sharp. Because this is so thick and we're going to bend it, I'm going to cut some grooves so that the leather will fold and we'll get a kind of a crisp bend. You'll be surprised at how nicely the edge looks, the bent edge looks when we do this. So I'm just going to grab a little pencil here and I'm going to mark, there are solid lines on this pattern. There's 4 of them. And I'm just going to mark them on the back or the inside of my basket. Then once I have these marked out, I'm going to connect them all to mirror the lines that are on my pattern. So there's 2 going the long way and 2 going the short way. So we need to cut grooves in all these lines here. You can use a French edger like this. I would use an 8 or 10, something like that. Cut your grooves that way. What I'm going to actually use, I have these lying around. This is a linoleum carving tool, and it cuts a little bit of a deeper, sort of rounded slot in the leather. So I'm kind of messing around with that right now. So I'm using a ruler to make sure it's straight. You can do that with the French edger as well. Or if you're good, you can go freehand. I don't know if I'm that good. You don't want to go so deep that you cut a hole through the leather completely. And there's a groove if you're doing the cup handles. There's a groove to cut in that as well. Next up, we got to punch our holes. So I'm going to put this pattern back on. And I'm just going to simply mark all the holes that we're going to punch for rivets. Now these holes here are for handles on the sides. If you don't want handles on the sides, don't punch these sets of holes out. Now on our sides, same goes for these two inner holes here. If you're not going to do, these are for cup handles. So if you're not going to do cup handles on the ends, don't punch these two holes in the center on the top. And that's all marked out in the pattern as well. With our holes punched, we're going to get to riveting. We have a lot of riveting to do. These are the cup handles. If you're going to do cup handles on your baskets, you're going to want to do this first. I am using beautiful copper plated double cap rivets. You can get them down in the description. They're new. I love them. I'm using the 9.2 millimeter cap size. And these posts are barely long enough. You're going to want to go with, I think, the 12.5 post length if you're doing 8 to 10 ounce leather. These are 9 and change, and I can make them work, but that's not ideal. So the first two rivets we're going to set on each side are going to be these cup handles. And you want it like this, because this is going to come over and pop out. See? And that is our handle right there. You see my press shake because it's half on carpet right now because I'm kind of moving things around in the shop, but it's perfectly safe. And if you don't have a hand and foot press, I will show you how to set these by hand. That's the thing I love about these setters, is that you buy one setter, you can use it in a hand set, or you can use it in one of the presses. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our basket bodies and we're going to fold on all these lines that we carved. And you'll see just how nice of a corner this ends up giving us on the outside once we've folded everything. Ready? See that? Right there. It's not super sharp, but you can definitely tell that something's been done on the inside. And it just makes it look a little more angular, a little more modern. So no matter what your handle is, you're going to start on the bottom here. I'm going to put some rivets in, and then we'll bring it over to the press and set them. I love this thing so much. If you're going to be doing projects like this a lot, this hand and foot press is totally worth its weight in gold. And if you're doing side handles or no handles, this is going to be your first step, is just these three on the bottom on both sides, here and here. We're going to start riveting our sides. So what I like to do is get a few rivets ready, and we're going to go one side at a time. And I'll also show you, if you don't have a press, how to set the rivets just with the little hand press set up, because it's very easy. So what we're going to do, I'm going to fold this up, fold this in. I'm going to get a rivet in my top and bottom hole on each side first. Now, if you want to use traditional solid brass or copper rivets, that of course totally works fine as well. I like using these because they hold together on their own, so it's a lot easier, honestly, to put them all together. Now, if you don't have the press, this is the hand setting step. This is the anvil, this is the handle. This is the 9 millimeter double cap rivet die set. Same one you use on the machine. I love this because you can kind of, when you're ready, if you're ready, you can step up to one of the presses. But otherwise, you just stick that in there, this in here, you're ready to go. So I have my 4 rivets set here. All I'm going to do, place one in the anvil cup, press that on top, use my maul, And we're set. It's a little precarious to hold, but it's really not bad. Once you get that first one, it kind of stands up on its own. And we'll just go side to side to side until all four are done. Now this one we're going to put our side handles on. Let's talk about how we do the cup handles. So to do the cup handles, we have this trench that we made in the leather that's going to fold over. Then our side's going to come up. So you're going to want to use at least 12.5mm post lengths for your rivets on these sides, because you're going to have 3 layers of leather to get through. You're going to need that extra length. What I would suggest doing is just getting the rivets in the top 2 and getting those set. Then coming back and doing these 2. You just want to make sure that these are held in. So let me get this side done first, and I'll show you how to do the other side, because this pops out. So I've attached this. Now everything's kind of held together a little bit better. This piece is longer than this piece to create this pop out. So I like to use my rivets and go through the back on the second side. Just a little bit easier to hold. Then I'll take the cap part, female part, whatever you want to call it, and put it on the front there. I'll do the same on the bottom one. And then I'll go set this. Once these are set, you can see we have our handle, our cup handle, just like on a kitchen cabinet. So I have these handles here that I made. They're just 11 inches across, 3/4 inches wide, and I punched holes in them. We have something a little special. So these just came out. These are leather wrapped rivets that match. They came out in pretty much every single Wicket and Craig color. So they all match. So what I'm going to do on the handles is I'm going to use these leather wrapped rivets to attach our handles. And let me tell you, there's something else there. Now, if you've ever wrapped rivets or snaps on your own, you know that wrapping them's one thing, setting them's a whole other thing. The setter for these is really cool. The base plate is a spring-loaded anvil. The top is a little bit more of a refined 9mm. It's similar to the normal 9mm, but it's a little different. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a little bit different. And the way this works is the spring-loaded anvil, you put the leather half in, and the top 9mm just gets the normal head on the top there. And that spring mechanism allows you to set it without squishing. It has just enough give that you don't squish the leather rivets. They just set beautifully. As you can see, they actually do stack. That's why I made them taper. So you can just stack them if you want. Now, the 3 that I made, so we have 2 with handles and the notch cut out, and then 1 with the cup handles. The cup handle style is very cool. It's very low profile. Of course, you could cut the notch out if you wanted to, but it's just this 2 extra pieces here. It flows nicely, and it allows you to hold it from the side like this. So you can slide these into, my idea was, if you had like a small shelf or something, you can slide them into the shelves. You don't have the handles in the way, and then you can grab them and pull them out. The other option, we have the beautiful leather capped rivets on the sides here. These are just the standard set rivets, and then what I did here, you can actually also get matching leather washers in all the Wicket and Craig colors. The leather capped rivets with the tan English bridle with the matching washers, and you don't have to make any of it yourself. Now, of course, I have a washer punch, it's fine, but sometimes you just don't keep all the same thickness, right? So with this, all you have to do is buy a hide of the thick stuff, and you can get a bag of 100 washers. You can get, you know, all the matching trim, and it's all really nice quality. So it saves a bunch of time, which is money when it comes to this little stuff, because if you're selling these, a customer isn't really going to be willing to pay $15 or $20 for you to take the time to wrap all the rivets and that kind of thing. But with this, you just pull them out of a bag and they look great. So that's going to be it for this one. The entire pattern package is going to be in the description for like $4 or $5. And all of these beautiful materials will be there too. So thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see the baskets you guys make, and I'll see you in the next one.